Chosen one, do not close this message and do not take another step. I need to say this before you do anything else today. Stop moving. Put down for a moment whatever you were about to give up this week. The plan you were about to give up, the place you were about to leave, or the calling you were about to give up on. It's not what you think it is that you feel restless lately and have a sudden strong urge to leave everything behind and run away. They're on their way to you already. The people who brought you what you prayed for have left the gate. They brought the chance that was written just for you. The answer that took years to build. At this very moment, it is moving toward your exact direction. And one thing is the only thing left in the world that can stop it. Not the other person, the weight, or your past. You're moving. That's why this season's instructions are both strange and easy. Don't move. Stay right where you were planted. I'm going to show you in a moment why the last mile is always where the pressure to leave is strongest. The name of the reflex that has taken more chosen people than any other attack. These are the 3 things you should do while you're in your position. Type the words "I am staying" in the comments right now. If you felt like leaving your post this week, a stated position is respected by heaven. I'm not guessing about your life right now. So, let me show you. Recognition is more important than persuasion. You looked at something you've been working on or believing in the last 30 days and heard yourself say, "Maybe I got it wrong." It was the first time in years that you had heard that thought. This might not have been for me ever. It wasn't an exciting time. It wasn't busy. You had the thought while doing the dishes, driving, or lying awake at 200 in the morning. It came to you with a strange sense of calm that sounded like wisdom. There you have it, the first sign. Now, pay attention to how it came about. The idea didn't come up when things were worst. You had already made it through the hardest part. It was late. Definitely too late. Take a look at that. You went through the years when there was no proof at all. Most people would have given up during tough times, but you stuck it out. Now, after all that hard work, the urge to quit is stronger than ever. Does the order of those things make sense? Since the goal is getting closer, why would the desire to leave get stronger unless the desire to leave is not coming from you? Now look at the second thing you saw. These days it seems like everything around you agrees that you should move. You get excited when a friend casually talks about a city far away. An old chance from a chapter you've already closed shows up in new clothes. It seems like the walls of your house are trying to push you out the door because it's getting too small, too slow, and too quiet. There is a reason why everyone around you starts singing the same song at the same time. That's coordination. And someone always comes up with the idea of coordination. The third sign is the strangest. There is a small stubborn knowing that won't leave you. Deep down underneath all that restlessness, a quiet confidence that tells you you are exactly where you should be. It doesn't yell. It doesn't make sense with the restlessness. It does nothing like a soldier who did not get the order to retreat because there was never a retreat order right now. That small knowing is the most important thing in your life. And this message is here to give you words, proof, and a plan to back it up. Don't worry about this question right now. I will answer it before we finish. Don't stop what's coming to you. Then why does someone need you to move so badly? Who wins if you're not home when the package arrives? To answer that, I need to take you back to before you got restless and tired, because this year is not the beginning of the season you are in now. Something inside you said yes to a life that didn't make sense on paper. You never wanted to take the normal path, did you? Others seemed happy with stable lives with steady rewards. But you felt something you couldn't put your finger on. Not fame or praise, but something more like an assignment. As a child, you felt it before you could put it into words. In your 20s, when everyone told you to be realistic, you felt it. Even though you're tired, you can feel it now, like an ember that won't go out no matter how much rain falls on it. And because that pain was with you, you made decisions that hurt you, you turned down doors that would have made your life easier, but was smaller. You kept believing for years, even when it seemed silly to do so. You put your roots down in a place, a job, a calling, or a belief. And you didn't move even though people around you waved from windows of lives that looked faster than yours. You didn't get a parade for any of that. Some part of you knew that what you were carrying needed roots, not wheels, so you did it anyway. Most people never even saw it. Now, here's something you didn't know about roots. Being passive is not what a tree that stays put for years does. The most mean thing a living thing can do is what it is doing. It's getting worse. Even though it doesn't look like anything is moving on the surface. Roots are breaking through rock to get to water that no one else can. They do this to prepare for storms that haven't happened yet. The stillness you felt bad about wasn't really stillness. It was construction time, but that time of year is over. Now, I need your full attention because most chosen ones miss the moment when the season changes. There is a difference between a waiting season and an arrival season. Even though they feel the same on the inside, heaven is getting the thing ready for you while you wait. Heaven is moving the thing toward you during an arrival season. The getting ready is done. The order has been sent. But you can't tell the difference because arrival seasons are known for one mean thing. They're not as busy as waiting seasons. At the very end, there is more and more silence. At the end, there is less and less proof. The last few minutes before dawn are spiritually similar to that time of night when it is the coldest and darkest because the sun is almost up. How do you figure out what season it is? Check out the stress. In a waiting season, the pressure is to try harder. In an arrival season, it's to leave. That's how you can tell when you feel like running away from being tired. From thinking I can't keep doing this to thinking I should be somewhere else. The thing you asked for has already left the warehouse. If that change happened to you not long ago, take a moment to let it sink in. You are no longer in the waiting room. The delivery address is where you are now. Type the word arriving in the comments if this makes sense for you this season. You can name the season and it will come to life. I can finally answer the question I told you to wait for. Who wins if you're not home when the package arrives? Learn about how opposition works against the life you've chosen. In the beginning, the opposition you faced was meant to make you lose faith. Discouragement, waiting, being alone, and making fun of. Those were siege weapons meant to make you doubt. But you didn't. You are still here. And at some point, I think you've already passed that point. Those who were trying to break your faith gave up because it was too strong. The plan then changed. This could be the most important sentence in this whole message. So pay close attention. You can no longer block what has been given to you. No power in this universe has the power to stop it now that it has been approved, released, and set in motion. Your location is the only thing that can change and the only move that can be made on the board. There is one last thing that can be done if the shipment can't be stopped. Change the address so that the recipient walks away from where the delivery is supposed to land. There is no reason for your restlessness. It is not a sign of weakness, and it is not even really yours. It's something made. It's the last move of someone who has already lost every other round. And I want to give you the name that people who study the soul and the inner life, snorts, have been talking about for generations. Because once you name something, it loses its secret. The exit reflex is what we call it. When you are about to get something good out of a position, you have an automatic urge to leave it. This is called the exit reflex. Before you think this is just a spiritual thought, you should know that the pattern shows up every time people are close to making a breakthrough. People who help others through long recoveries will tell you that the week before the turning point is the most dangerous. That's when people all of a sudden are sure beyond doubt that the process is not working. People who help builders and founders will tell you that the last few steps are when they want to break everything down the most. At the finish line, the reflex fires strongest when the work is almost done. It has always been that way. Why? This is because the reflex is not reacting to failure, but to being close. That gap between you and the promise has almost disappeared. But your eyes can't see it yet. Something in the unseen realm knows this. It floods you instead because the promise can't be touched. Getting restless, you start to doubt things you were sure of for years. A strange longing for exits you've already turned down. An urge to change everything about your life during the week. You were supposed to do nothing. You can find the fingerprints in your own past. Remember that relationship, project, community, or discipline that you gave up years ago and then found out that it was just after you left that you made the big breakthrough. Even though you thought you knew how to get out, something in your stomach dropped when you heard what happened after you left. That was your exit reflex taking its toll. Almost every one of them has at least one of those stories. This message is meant to make sure you don't get another one. So, let me take the weight of your shame off your shoulders right now. You've been wondering in private if all this restlessness means you are poor, unstable, or losing your faith. You're not any of those things. If you feel the exit reflex, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're almost there. The reflex doesn't show that you're weak. It proves your point of view. No one wastes their last move on someone who is still a long way from the finish line. Identifying the reflex is only half the battle. Though you still have to live in a body and mind that it floods. I have to tell you the truth about something that most spiritual teachers don't say because it makes people feel bad. You are not the only one fighting for your position in your mind. It's fought over your attention, and the way modern life is set up has made it harder for this generation to pay attention. If your mind is broken, foggy, and spread out, you can't hold a post. It might want to keep a post. It might want to hold the post, but wanting and believing are not the same thing. Hold on to that thought, because I'm going to show you something about the guardian mind that I think was put in my path. Just for the people who are reading this, we'll talk more about the reflex itself for now. Because it comes in 3 different forms, and you've already met all 3 this month. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose. Join the conversation and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. Snorts, now, before we go any further, you have a question that needs a direct answer. Why is the instruction only now coming? If all of this is true, how come heaven let you feel restless for weeks before calling it what it was? Learn a principle about how God's timing works that runs through the whole holy book. When they become survivable, instructions are sent out. If someone had told you to stop at the start of your journey when your faith was new and your roots were weak, they would have broken you. It's heavier to stand than to walk. To hold your ground under fire takes more strength than to march through open space. These words are reaching you right now, which is proof from heaven that you are ready. You're strong enough to hear the truth about your season. It is possible to wait with the word kava, which comes from the language of the prophets. But kava doesn't mean to do nothing. Putting together strands into a rope is what it means at its core. It means to braid to wait in the original tongue. Each day that you stay in your position with faith, another strand is added to the cord that holds you to your promise. People who are interested in your life see that you don't do anything. Heaven sees a rope getting thicker every day until it can hold the full weight of what is being lowered onto it. You didn't wait all these years because of the size of your delivery. The braided cord you've been making is perfect. Think about Joseph. His story shows the delivery route better than any other in the Bible. A young man with a real dream was thrown into a pit, sold for his blood, falsely accused, and then locked up in an Egyptian prison where all the signs pointed to the dream being dead. Now look at the part that almost all teachers skip. When the time to rise finally came, Joseph did not run away. He didn't come out of the tunnel and look for the palace. He was sent by the palace. The package showed up at his cell. As the cupbearer remembered, Pharaoh had a dream and men sent by the king walked down into the prison to carry Joseph up. The road ended at his exact coordinates in Egypt at the worst possible address. What did Joseph do when they came to get him? He was at his job doing a good job in a place he didn't want to be, reading prisoners' dreams even though they couldn't pay him back. This kept his gift sharp in the dark. If Joseph had spent those years planning escapes, bribing guards, and forcing doors, no one would have been able to find him when the call came. He wasn't just faithful over time. It was an address forward. That's what your secret love is doing now. Every little act of obedience changes things in the realm of the unseen. Still here, still ready, and still at the post. You are not letting your life get stuck. You're making it easy for people to find you. And the call will come to you the same way it came to Joseph. All of a sudden, on a normal day, being carried by people you didn't hire and opening doors you didn't touch, but I can hear your honest objection because you've been carrying it for a long time. What if I missed it already? What if I was antsy in an earlier season and moved when I should have stood still? What if my package delivery person went to an address I had left years ago? Chosen one, take a deep breath and accept this. The same God who assigns carriers also changes the routes. There are a lot of second sendings in the record. Jonah left his post and ran across the sea in the exact opposite direction. The Lord spoke to him again. Peter quit his job on the worst night of his life. And the risen Christ changed the plan for breakfast to a beach just to help him feel better. If mistakes meant the end of the story, none of the names you hold dear would be in the book. What you might have missed in a previous season is still there. The time has been changed. And the fact that heaven is pinning you to your coordinates with such force right now means that the new path is almost finished. Get rid of the sadness of the old address. This map can't be changed by it. The only delivery you can lose is the one that's coming up now. And the only way to lose it is to keep doing what you're doing. This is exactly why the pressure came back wearing the same mask it had on before. It's not following you around. It does the same thing over and over because its playbook only has one page. This time though you've read the page too. What does it mean to you that you are no longer automatically giving in to your restlessness? Type the word rare out it in the comments if you can feel that difference. Write down the time when the pattern broke. The first thing the exit reflex does is put on the mask of wisdom. It doesn't come with a message to run away. It comes saying be strategic. It reads back to you words that you have used. There must be a reason why this door is shut. I might be trying to get God to end something. He already did. It sounds so grown up and wise that you almost feel good about having thought it. But here's how to find it. If it's really divine redirection, it brings peace and a goal. There is pressure on the fake and only one way out. God tells you where to go when He moves you. The reflex only tells you what to leave when it moves you. If the voice telling you to move can't say where it wants you to go, it's not a shepherd. It throws things around. The second mask is the comparison costume. The reflex will bring other people past your window at the exact moment when your own field looks empty. Your feed, conversations, and memories all fill up with people who have moved and done well, ended a marriage and look happier, quit their job and got promoted, or quit their job and look like they're free from afar. The whole story is not shown to you. You are shown highlight reels that are meant to make you feel like you are in jail for obeying. Again, pay attention to the time. During normal weeks, this parade never comes by your window. It gets there in a few weeks. The comparison doesn't give you information. It's bait. A fisherman doesn't throw bait into water that doesn't have any fish in it. He throws it where he thinks something valuable is swimming. The third disguise is the costume of fatigue. This one is the most understandable because it's made from real things. You really are tired. Being in a job that no one liked for years will do that to your body and soul. The reflex takes that real tiredness and changes it in a subtle way. I need to rest becomes I need to get out. Those sentences could not be more different. Rest helps you focus on your work again. Out takes you away from it. The person who wants to stop your fate is happy for you to rest as long as they can get your coordinates in exchange. What should you say to exhaustion? Yes, I will rest right here at my post with my boots on now that you can see through all three masks. Something comes up that changes everything. Is it okay for me to not move? What should I do? And this is where I need to clear up the biggest misunderstanding about the stay put order. The phrase stand still makes most people think of do nothing. They think of laziness, a parked car, and a life that has stopped. That picture is totally wrong. And believing it will make standing too painful. It's not the same thing to stand still and stand guard. Both a parked car and a guard at his post are still, but one is empty and the other is the most alert thing on the field. You didn't get the order to park. You were told to keep watch. This is called standing guard. Not just standing there. A guard's stillness does not mean that they are not doing anything. It's action squished into alertness. And a guard on duty has 3 jobs to do, which means you do 2. The first job is to watch over the gate. For a delivery to happen, the door must be open and not damaged. Your daily faithfulness is the gate to your life. You almost stopped doing the little things you were told to do because they didn't seem to change anything. What were some things you almost gave up? The prayer, the discipline, or the kindness? These are big. Those are the gate's hinges. Keep them greased up. Make sure the door is clear. You can't get anything assigned to you through a gate you've left open. The second job is to keep an eye on the declaration. It's more important than you think what you say about your job while you have it. If a guard tells everyone in the camp that the reinforcements probably aren't coming, he disarms everyone who hears him, including himself. This is worse than having no guard at all. Either your mouth is protecting your coordinates or it is letting them out. So this holiday season, keep your words short and sharp. I'm set down. It's on its way. I'll be here when it gets here. Talk to heaven more instead of people. The third job, and pay close attention, is to watch over the watchtower itself. Your thoughts are the tower. A guard is only as good as his eyes, and eyes are only as good as how clear they are. This is the task that almost every chosen one forgets to do. Which is why so many people stay in their position physically but lose their mind. They stay in the right place but aren't clear on what they want to do. Then when the right time comes, like when the messenger knocks or the door opens, they need to give a clear yes within a short window. They are confused, hesitant, and half asleep at the post. They have refused to leave for years. I need to take a moment to hold something in front of you before we go on with the message. Research labs have found something new in the last few years that most people who care about the things we've been talking about have never heard of. Not because it goes against what is holy, but because most of us aren't paying attention to it. The head of a small group of scientists studying the mind has spent decades researching the mind. These scientists have found something about the way the brain is built that explains a feeling that almost all spiritually sensitive people have but almost no one can name. What it's like to be at your post and your mind won't fully come online. Something so basic that it goes all the way back to a Nobel Prize, but it's so easy to use that it sounds almost fishy at first. Let me tell you exactly what they found later in this message after you have a better idea of what the problem is and how it can be solved. But put this question on hold for now. What if the fog you've been fighting at your post isn't caused by old age, weakness, or a flaw in your character? Perhaps something was taken from the watchman in secret many years ago. What if it is possible to return it? Hold on to that because you need to know who is coming toward your coordinates. Before we get there, we need to talk about who they are. Every blessing you've ever had came to you through someone else. Take a look. The job was given to them by someone who said yes. Hands, words, or a stranger whose timing was off helped the person get better. The big step forward came from a phone call, a meeting, a chance meeting, or someone holding the door open for you. Lightning from the sky has never been heaven's favorite way to deliver things. People and moments moving along set roads, carrying goods have always been what it was. A lot of the time they don't even know they're carrying. They are known as assigned carriers. Your carriers are moving right now somewhere between where they are and where you are. There is no poetry here. This is about logistics. The person who can put you in touch with the right person. The guard at the gate whose heart is already set on your name. This is the resource that has been passed between three people before it gets to you. Your promise has been in your mind as something far away. Start picturing it as a convoy that has your address already on board and is moving. Now tell me why that picture is so important, since it changes what your faith does. When you wait for something to happen, your faith is passive and wears out. When faith is ready for a convoy, it becomes alert. And being careful is exactly what your post calls for. Every knock is important when you know carriers are coming. Every conversation could be the link. Every Tuesday is now suddenly a possibility for the day the route ends. You should stop looking at the horizon for lightning and start paying attention to people. That's where the blessing was set to come from the whole time. Bears can be missed, though. It's been years since I've thought about this woman's story. She had prayed for a certain door at work for more than 10 years. That door would let her take care of her family and do what she knew she was meant to do. And when she was 11, she went through a time of being restless. Just like I talked about at the beginning of this message, she felt like she had to move to a different city and start over where things would be easier for sure. The boxes were only half full when she left. And while she was praying one morning, a clear sentence fell on her heart. "Daughter, why are you leaving the address I gave them?" She took the boxes apart. Following 17 days, a former coworker she hadn't talked to in 6 years came to her door with a chance so perfectly suited to her plans that she broke down in tears before the woman was done talking. The ship had been on its way for months. The path ended at the address she almost didn't go to. Listen for the lesson in that story. The woman who was carrying the package wasn't sent where she planned to go. The carrier was sent to the spot where she was set up. It is positions that get assignments, not potentials. Heaven doesn't keep an eye on your thoughts. It keeps track of where you are. Now, I'll talk about the part of the pain I haven't touched on yet, but I've been standing for so long. Part of you says, if it's really this close, why do I feel like I can't wait another month? Dear chosen one, let me reframe the whole math of your journey. You haven't come most of the way. You've come all the way. You don't own the distance that is still there. It's part of the convoy. An old story about the Red Sea has a line that most people get wrong. Israel was told not to fight harder because they were stuck between an army and the water. Stand still and watch as they were saved. Not people, but the sea itself walked the last mile of that miracle. They were in a certain position. God was in charge of motion. The pattern shows up again. And again in the Holy Book, Joshua's army did not break down the walls of Jericho. While heaven took care of demolition, they held formation. At the brook, the prophet did not go find his own food. Ravens had a route to follow and his only job was to be at the brook when they got there. Do you understand what the pattern means? It seems like in all of these stories there is a line where human work ends and divine logistics begin. If you cross that line while still striving, you will actually get in the way of the delivery. That line has been crossed by your season. The reason your recent efforts have felt so weak is not that you failed. It means that your part is done. The rest of the work doesn't care how hard you work. You have to be still for it to respond. This is why we need to rest right now. I have to do this. If that made you feel good, type the word planted in the comments. It should be your position report. Stay with me now. Because we've reached the most important part of this message. The question that answers all other questions. Why would the way things are designed need you to be sharp, clear, and fully present when you get there? If God is taking care of the delivery anyway, why does the guard need to have clear eyes? Because moments of arrival are moments of recognition. The majority of carriers come in the form of something normal, a chat that could be for nothing or to open the door. On the surface, the offer seems small, but it's really a kingdom, an introduction that doesn't add much weight unless you pay attention. The tragedy that people keep telling each other is not that the blessing never came. It's that the blessing came but wasn't seen because the person receiving it was foggy at the window. The delivery doesn't just need you to be there. It needs your understanding. In fact, this generation has been robbed of its perception. Okay, let me close the loop. I started earlier because I said I would talk about something found in research labs again. Why did I wait until now to tell you this? Because what they found is not information. They found a way to fix things. Another thing is that a solution is only useful if you fully understand the issue it solves. You now know what the shape is. A watchman who was at the right place at the right time, but whose tower has been quietly turned down. Now, let's get to the answer. Dr. Roger Sperry, a neuroscientist, won the Nobel Prize in 1981 for work that quietly changed what we know about the mind. It wasn't from a church or a seminary. It was from a research lab. His work on the split brain showed that your eyes don't have a single processor. Your brain has two hemispheres, which are two separate ways of processing information that are meant to work together. And something amazing happens when they do sync up. Researchers call the state of the mind that happens when this happens flow. The state where it's easy to recognize things, be creative, and make decisions. In other words, the state where a watchman at his post was meant to live. This path should stop you in your tracks. Researchers who looked at kids found that about 98% of them thought at a level that is called creative genius. Not even 1 in 1,000 adults. Keep it up. Read it slowly again. Almost all children are born with the watchtower fully lit. Almost no adult keeps it. Between the playground and the house payment, the lights go out. Not because of sin or weakness, but because of the noise, school, screens, and constant breaking up of life in the modern world, which pulls the two hemispheres out of sync over time. You are not flawed by the fog you fight. And there is a break at the neural level. Our sharpness was slowly taken away and we each thought we were the only one going dim. An American woman wrote about how it felt before she found what I'm about to talk about. She did everything possible. She did everything her community suggested: prayer, writing in a journal, meditation, and she kept having the same experience. She believed what was said. But she couldn't feel what it meant. Not in her body and not in the way her days were lived. She said it was like standing at her post wrapped in cotton. Something got better after 10 days. A channel that had been closed off was opened up all of a sudden. It wasn't because she worked harder. The receiver had been fixed. From the other side of life, a man from Texas said something similar. He held everything together for everyone else for years, but his own inner world became thin and far away. It felt like I was talking into a wall when I prayed. It was the right signal, but the receiver wasn't turned on. He woke up 2 weeks after starting what I'm about to talk about and said his mind was finally working on everything it was supposed to work on. The fog had been there for so long that he had stopped noticing it as fog. Now it was gone. That's because of what the team I'm about to talk about found. The following was done for years by a group of neuroscientists led by Dr. Daniel Barron, a neurologist in New York City. The audio sequence was made from more than an hour of clinical neural sync technology, which is a type of whole brain activation protocol used in specialized medical settings. It was compressed and improved over and over again until it was just 8 minutes long. 24 hours a week. Put on headphones. Close your eyes. That's all that's needed physically. The smart switch is what they call it. It's not an app for meditation or keeping track of your mood. It's a specific set of sounds that were designed based on Docker. Roger Sperry's Nobel Prize, winning research to connect the two hemispheres and get your brain back to the way it was when you were a child. If you've tried listening tracks from big platforms before and been let down, Dr. Barron talks about that right away. A lot of what gets around freely only looks at a small part of the picture. His team's work aims to synchronize the two halves of the brain at the level of the whole brain using a Malaya protocol that has been improved over years of clinical work. Different mechanism, different type of outcome. Even better, you don't have to add any new habits for it to work. There will be no mantras, writing in a journal, or hour of silence. You don't even know it's happening while you close your eyes and sit there. If you miss a day, nothing falls apart. You just keep going. Truthfully, it's the easiest advice I've ever given anyone. Which makes sense since the whole point of this season is to do nothing but stand still and stay sharp. Let me be clear about who this is for now. Not everyone can use the genius switch. It is for the chosen one who knows that God not only made the promise but also the mind that needs to be able to see it at the door. The honest person who has been in charge for years without getting any praise and who is finally ready to stop seeing the fog as a flaw in their character and start seeing it as something with a physical address. A lot of people will scroll past when they hear this. They have accepted that the dimmed version of their mind will always be there. You're still here. That isn't a mistake. That's the kind of determination that this was made for. How much does something like this cost? Some of Dr. Barron's co-workers who looked over the protocol said that even $500 would be fair since neurofeedback in person costs around $300 an hour and home systems cost many thousands of dollars. It wasn't put out at $500. It wasn't put out at $200. It cost $49 when it came out. Today, through the page linked to this message, you can get an extra $210 off and within minutes. You'll get $39 for one-time access for life. It comes with 4 gifts as well. A guided visualization from a top-rated Calm app creator that takes you through the 4 rooms of a life that has been fixed up. Money, love, health, and happiness. A smart grocery guide that shows 10 common American foods that are linked to brain fog and gives families tips on how to save over $100 a month. This free book is a classic manifestation text from more than 100 read years ago that is at the heart of much that is taught today. And an infographic with the 5 habits that keep your mind awake that you can print out and hang somewhere. You will see it and you can get all of your money back. No questions asked. You can listen once or 80 times. Every dollar you spend will be returned to you if it doesn't work for you. Like it has for more than 18,000 regular people. Not a question. There are no conditions. They are the ones who take on all the risk, which is exactly where a reliable tool puts it. Please be careful of one thing before I close this door. For those whose minds are in sync, the provision that God has already set up for them is clear, but not for those whose minds are not in sync. Not because the service changes, but because the receiver that can understand it comes back online. What was planned for you is already happening this season. The question is whether you will be at the gate with the watchtower on when it comes. Also, be careful when you search big platforms for something that has a name that sounds like that one. The group looked at what's going around and discovered that most of it has the label but none of the mechanism. The difference is in the mechanism, which can only be found in team-built things. Only the direct page has been checked, and that's where the link below takes you. There is more information about what has been said in the description below this message and in the comment that has been pinned. Their page has everything laid out. Before you decide, read it all. The tool doesn't stand in for God. It doesn't take the place of obedience, and it won't watch over you. There was never any tool that could stop what God was doing in you. But a tool that heals the receiver makes what God is doing land in the right place more often. We are now going back to the deeper part of this message. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Koi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Now that the watchtower question is over, there is one more skill that you need for your job that almost no one teaches. It's important to learn how to spot a real carrier when they knock, since not all knocks during arrival season are carrying your goods. The week that your real delivery is coming up, fakes often show up at the gate. This is not a belief in ghosts. It is a plan. If the receiver can't be moved off of the coordinates, the next best thing is to get them to open the gate to the wrong thing. Spend all their time on the welcome and be too tired or upset to answer the real knock. So, let me tell you what makes a real carrier. Those traits that stand the test of time and the words of people who have lived them. A real carrier talks to you about your preparation as well as your hunger. You'll know right away when the chance comes up because it matches the skills, scars, and history you built up in your hiding years. Like someone read your file. Fakes your craving stronger. The assignments fit your training. A real carrier carries both pressure and peace. There will be a sense of urgency because there are windows of time for arrivals, but there is also a floor of peace below the urgency that you can stand on. This is turned around by the fake. It's exciting on the outside, but it has a strange hollow static sound on the inside. The basement of every house, not the balcony. The way you feel at the bottom tells you the truth. A real carrier lives through your prayers. This is the best test that has been around for a long time. When you take the knock into the quiet and put it in front of God, a real assignment becomes stronger, more solid, and more certain. A fake gets less thick. To live it needs noise, hurry. And your first reaction that you haven't thought through. Something that tells you to skip the quiet is telling. Nothing that is protected by heaven is afraid of heaven. One more. Because people don't realize how important it is. You don't have to leave your mail to get it from a real carrier. Just think about the woman whose coworker knocked on her door. The package was brought to the address. You can tell whose warehouse an offer came from. If the first thing it asks of you is to leave the field you were told to hold, betray the values you were raised in, or become someone you were not. When you obey what you're supposed to do meets you inside it, not outside of it. Put these 4 marks where you can see them. Is right for you, gives you peace when things get tough, grows in the quiet, and meets you at your post. That's how you should use the gate this season. You won't have to worry about opening the gate at the wrong time anymore. When someone knocks on the door, the watchman who knows the marks can answer it without worrying because he or she is no longer guessing. Type the word gatekeeper in the comments if you want to remember this protocol. Your own statement will seal it in your mind. After looking at the closed door of this season for so long, I think you've forgotten what it would be like if it opened. Let me take you a little further forward. Let's spend a moment together. A few weeks or months from now, it's just another morning. There was no warning on the calendar. About today. The knock comes while you are at your post doing the same small thing you have done 1,000 times. There was the call, the letter, and the person with your name on their mouth. Here's the specifics I want you to feel ahead of time. You're not scared. You feel calm and almost smile as something inside you says, I know what this is. I knew you were going to show up. Feel the difference between being shocked by your breakthrough and being able to see it coming. What happens to people who wait is surprise. This is what happens to people who watched at that moment. Every year that seemed wasted gets rearranged in your mind. It turns out that the long silence was roots being dug up because you wouldn't stop being restless. It turned out to be the final exam which you passed by standing still. You will remember this season, the one you are in now, the one that seems to go on forever tonight, and call it the season when everything was already moving. That morning was different for some people, not just you, because those who have been chosen never get deliveries just for themselves. The goods that are heading toward your coordinates are known by other names. The family that will be safe because of what you give them. The people you won't know who will be reached by what you make with it. The generation that comes after you will take over a field that their ancestors refused to give up. You are not in a private position when you hold your post. You have a supply line in your hands. Along the line of your obedience, people you have never met are counting on the watchman to stay at the window tonight. That's how much weight your stillness really is. That's why the pressure has been so unbearably high on you. No one puts up that much of a wall around an empty warehouse. You will have a lot of weapons ready for the exit reflex when it whispers tonight, which it may do because it has heard this message, too. You now know what it's called. The 3 costumes are known to you. There are 4 marks on a real knock that are meant to make you miss. At the gate, at the declaration, and at the watchtower, you know what your 3 jobs are. You already know that the map has moving lights on it. The reflex works best in the dark when something isn't named or clear. You brought it out into the light and read the file out loud. It has never had less control over you than it does now. Right now at this post, let's have one last honest moment before we seal this message. You can hold a position better when your mind is clear than when it's foggy. I already showed you where that door is. I'm not going to talk about it again. After this, the resource from Dr. Barron's team is still in the description and the pinned comment for those whose spirits were sure of it. That is the last time tonight that it will be named. What's left in this message is completely different and belongs to something else. I haven't given you the last piece of your puzzle yet, but it might be the one your heart has been waiting for the most. This time I want to talk about what to do when you can't stand up. The days when the urge to leave is a roar, not a whisper. As the lives of other people walk by your window all afternoon. When you're physically worn out in a way that sleep can't fix, when those days come up, remember that you're not the first watchman to shake at their post. After his biggest win, Elijah, who had one of the sternest voices in the whole Bible, sat down under a broom tree and begged to die. The man who called for fire was ready to leave. Also, look at what heaven did to him. Not a lecture. Don't feel bad. He was fed by an angel, put to sleep, and then fed again. The angel then told him about the road ahead. It's not rebuke that God gives to a tired watchman. That's what it means. Take it in. If your time under the broom tree is now, don't worry about being tired at work. The tiredness is telling you that the post is useless, but you can't believe it. Then there's the urge to compare your still time to other people's busy times. I also want to give you a picture to keep. In the winter, two fields are next to each other. In February, a farmer who is bored tears up his field and plants something faster in its place. The other person stays put and trusts what he planted in the fall. For months, both fields look the same from the road. Simple, quiet, and unremarkable. But a root system is finishing up its work under one of them. When spring comes, you won't be able to tell the difference between the two fields for weeks. It can be seen for decades. You're not behind. You are below ground. There's a difference. And on days when you feel like God isn't there at all, pay close attention to this because it might change everything you thought about the silence. In the old stories, heaven's silence always gets deeper right before it does something big. There was silence for 400 years before the event that split history in two. There was the least noise the night before the tomb opened. In God's plan, silence is not the same thing as absence. It's the sound that comes from finishing up. There is silence behind the scenes when the director says this. The curtain is about to move. If your prayers this season seem to be heard in an empty room, don't take that as a sign that you are being left behind. Think of it as the quiet before the door. Now I'll hand you this whole message because a watchman needs a way to carry his orders. You are now in the arrival season instead of the waiting season. The push you feel to leave is not direction. This is the opponent's last move when they can't touch the shipment and have to move the receiver. It comes in 3 different forms. False wisdom that gives you exits without destinations. Comparison that shows up on time but doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And fatigue that turns. I need rest into I need out. You can now see all 3. What you're told is not to stand still, but to stand guard. The guard also has 3 jobs to do. Protect the gate, which refers to the small acts of faithfulness you do every day that keep the door to your life open. Protect the declaration, which means having a mouth that keeps your coordinates safe instead of giving them away. Protect the tower, which means keeping your mind clear and sharp enough to spot the messenger when they knock and the carriers are coming. They are rotated people, times and resources that will arrive at the address where you were planted, not the address where you wanted to run away. Your stretch of the distance is done. The last mile is for the convoy. It's still possible for the chosen one who felt something stir when the mind was talked about earlier to go through that door. It's only a small step, but big changes have come from small steps taken with a clear head. I'm going to say something over your life, your post, and everything that is moving toward you right now before this message ends. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit Community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says give and heaven will open over you on this platform. Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall. Share your heart. And as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now. Join the family and see your heavens open. First though, I want to give you something to do with your body because more than just your thoughts are what hold you in place. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears for a moment. No matter where you are, take a look at how much of your body has been braced as if you were giving birth yourself. You don't carry anything. You are getting it now. Picture your life, snorts, as a single light point on a dark map. It will stay the same and never change. Now look at the edges of that map. You can see them little lights moving along roads you can't name. They are all coming together slowly, steadily, and unstoppably toward your point. Before you were born, every route was planned. Hold on to one of the lights as it gets closer. Feel what it's like to know that the map is already moving. Let out a single sentence from that deep stubborn knowing we talked about at the beginning. Place your hand over your heart. Say it out loud or to yourself. Right now, I am exactly where I should be. Take a deeper breath in and out around that sentence. This is how a held position feels. Remember how you felt. It will help you on days when it's loud. Now, chosen one. Take this as proof of everything we've been through together. Father, thank you for the job you gave us and the grace that has kept our feet on the ground through every season that tried to move them. Thank you for what has already been loaded, routed, and sent. Let go of whatever has been pushing you to give up your position. Let go of the false knowledge that gave you exits with no destination. Let go of the comparisons and the lives that were never meant to be yours. Let go of the idea that being tired means giving up. Let go of the shame you felt during the years when nothing seemed to be happening. Let go of the addresses you almost ran away to. Take your hands off of the last mile which was never yours to walk. Allow everything to fall from your hands. Because hands that let go of the false load are hands that are free to receive the real delivery on the inside. Now stand up and say who you are. I'm not lost. I'm planted. As a watchman, I don't go where I please. What heaven has already given out is now mine to receive. I'm alert at my desk and awake at my window. It doesn't move me when it's quiet, when the seasons change or when other people walk past my field. What is mine is moving and it knows where I live. I'll be here when it gets here. If this message found you at your post tonight, type "I am staying" in the comments as your promise to God and everyone who reads them. Share this with someone you know is packing boxes. They shouldn't be packing. And stay close because these messages will keep coming to you just when you need them. Hold on to your coordinates, someone you got. It's true that they are closer than ever. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment. A place where divine abundance is not just a hope but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content. Daily devotions and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.